Welcome back. We will now complete our triangle review by doing some congruent triangle work. So these two triangles are congruent, and their corresponding order is GOP and ACK. Find the measure of angle O, find the length of segment AC, and the measure of angle P. Alright, so for the measure of angle O and C are corresponding. So they are the same measure. C is 80, so O is 80. So the measure of angle O is 80 degrees. Okay, the length of segment AC, first two letters, corresponds with GO. Okay, GO is 12, so that means AC is 12. So the length of segment AC is 12. Okay, then for the measure of angle P, I have a triangle here with a 70 and an 80. If I take those two away from 180, the triangle is always 180 total. So 180 minus 70 and 80. And that is 30. So angle P is 30 degrees. So the measure of angle P is 30 degrees. Okay, now how can I show that each pair of triangles here is congruent? So what reason? So it's going to be side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, or hypotenuse, leg. So here I have a pair of vertical angles. They are congruent, and that gives me angle, side, angle. Okay, here the two triangles share segment SU, so by the reflexive property I can say that is congruent to itself. And they are right triangles. I have a hypotenuse here and a leg here, so these are congruent by hypotenuse, leg. Okay, here I have two triangles that share segment WY, so by the reflexive property it's congruent to itself, and that gives me side, angle, side. Here's a pair of vertical angles, and that gives me angle, angle, side. And here is a shared side. Segment DF is congruent to itself by the reflexive property. That gives me side, side, side. Okay, now we want to show that these triangles are congruent. So I've got segment AB is congruent to segment CD. Angle ABD is congruent to angle CDB. And they do share a side, so by the reflexive property I can say that is congruent to itself. And that gives me triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CDB by side, angle, side. D is the midpoint of segment AC, so D right here is in the middle of AC. That means AD and CD are the same length. The two triangles share BD, side, angle, side. Triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD by side, angle, side. Okay, this time we're not proving the triangles are congruent, but that just these two parts are congruent, angle V and angle Y. So we are given that VW and YZ are congruent segments, and that angle W is congruent to angle Z. Now these two triangles also have a pair of vertical angles. Those must be congruent to each other. That gives me angle, angle, side. So I can say triangle VWX is congruent to triangle YZX by angle, angle, side. And now that the triangles are congruent, I can say angle V is congruent to angle Y because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Here I'm trying to prove that segment TS is congruent to segment RQ. First I need to show that the triangles are congruent. So angle QRT is congruent to angle STR. Angle QTR is congruent to angle SRT. These triangles also share side TR. So it looks like these triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle. So triangle QRT is congruent to triangle STR by angle, side, angle. Now I can say corresponding parts are congruent. So segment TS is congruent to segment RQ because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, show that angle DAB, that's right here, is congruent to triangle BCD. Okay, so I'm proving these angles congruent. So first I have to show that the triangles are congruent. These triangles have a pair of congruent sides. They have right angles. They also share a side right here. Okay, now this angle is not between the two sides, so I can't do side, angle, side. Okay, but what I can do is hypotenuse, leg. I've got a pair of right triangles in which hypotenuse is congruent, and they share a leg, so leg is congruent. So triangle DAB is congruent to triangle BCD by hypotenuse, leg. Now I can say that these corresponding angles are congruent, so angle DAB is congruent to angle BCD because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.